as we see the cars rolling into the pit lane. Number 37 goes past our shop there, and that's Russell Morgan. And this is the SMTA Fiesta Hot Hatch Championship and the Scottish BMW Compact Cups all mixed together. Unfortunately, a lack of BMWs, and in the front row to get it's Macaulay and Geraghty. Who's going to get the jump down to the hip? And it looked like Wayne Macaulay got the initial jump there. Cameron Bryant was very strong off the line in the orange 27, and he cuts across the inside of Blair Murdoch, but it's side by side at the front. Hold your breath, hang on everybody. Macaulay takes it. Can Bryant get up into the Geraghty? They leave each other just enough racing room and a bit of respect. There's no contact through there as they head round towards Clark's for the first time of asking. Car dropping its wheels into the gravel with Stuart Scott on the exit. And look at that beautiful view in the distance off Edinburgh, the lovely capital there. Having said that, we should be looking at the track as Macaulay. Oh, Wayne, it's only lap one. There's absolutely nothing left on the table for Wayne Macaulay there as he comes through Clark Corner, dicing with the edge of the track right up to the edge of the curb, and then after that it's dirt, and there isn't much traction when you get into the dirt. Through Leslie's, they climb the hill. Macaulay already starting to stretch his legs over Geraghty, the reigning Mini Cooper Cup champion. Celtic Speed Mini Cooper man deciding to take a bit of a year out and just sample a few different races. He's sharing a car with Ian Bonthron, doing a bit of Super Lap Scotland, and he's doing a little bit of Fiesta racing, as you can see. He knows exactly how to drive, and he's finding out that Wayne Macaulay's a bit of a mean peddler when it comes to Fiesta ST racing. Cameron Bryant holding off a spirited attack just now. He'd be quite happy with that. John Balfour, Blair Murdoch, Russell Morgan, Stuart Scott still running and circulating, with Lorne Murray and Gordon Haston bringing up the very back as we make our way down towards the chicane. And Wayne Macaulay, well, actually Mark Geraghty's staying with him in this race. In the first race it was a little bit different. Wayne Macaulay once again did do the winning, as we would expect, but there was a whole 10-second lead over Mark Geraghty. Right now Mark Geraghty is staying very much with him, but can he do that? Can he hold on to that for the whole of the race? We'll have to wait and see. Blair Murdoch chases John Balfour up the main straight as they go underneath the Beatson's Boring Supply Bridge. Good friend John Marshall's bridge there, as we get a cracking view of the cars coming down. You can see just how steep the hill is here. You actually see from a camera view a hill there. Normally the camera flattens out a lot, but that's a steep hill, and it drops all the way down through the apex here. The car tends to want to understeer, but if you get the line perfect, you almost fall into the road as you leave the corner, and you can really drive the car out of it. And talking about really driving the car, look at this man, clearing off at the front here. This is starting to look like a bit of a demonstration drive from Wayne Macaulay. And Mark Geraghty, well, he's got a decent little gap over Cameron Bryant, but he's going to have to keep his wits about him. And in turn, Cameron Bryant has got John Balfour, and Balfour has got Blair Murdoch. Then there's clear road back. So Blair Murdoch, the first man who's really not having to look in his mirrors at all, he can go into full attack mode and try and attack Balfour ahead of him. Stuart Scott goes through, bouncing the back wheel of that Fiesta through the air. Car number 5, Lorne Money as well in there, and Russell Morgan still hanging about in there as the guys go over to click off another lap. We can hear Macaulay going through in the background. Then we see Mark Geraghty coming through. Blair Murdoch, if anything, just starting to dribble off the back of John Balfour now. Or has John Balfour increased his pace, and is he now wanting to catch up and latch onto the back of young Cameron Bryant, brother of Rory? And Rory's raced that car. I've raced against Rory when he raced it. And that wasn't just yesterday, was it, Rory? No, it wasn't. As through the chicane again, beautiful little drift from Mark Geraghty there. The new track surface here at Knockhill, something we should mention as well, because lap records have been tumbling on it. They have been disappearing. It's round about half a second, almost faster, maybe three quarters of a second, depending on who you are, what car you're in, and weather conditions, and on the day, and that all falls into play as well. But one thing we can tell you, it is super smooth, billiard table smooth. And it wasn't until we got it resurfaced that we actually thought, wow, the old track was pretty lumpy. It was pretty bumpy, but it had character. It had good character. But this one seems to be working pretty well just now. Blair Murdoch still hanging in there. Let's have a look and see who's got the fastest lap of the race just now. Well, that goes to Wayne Macaulay. And Wayne Macaulay's 1:01, a minute 1.3, and he done lap 4. 62 flat, a 102 flat for Mark Geraghty, and it's just not working. Wayne McCauley is in a different league this year in the Fiesta STs. Car preparation does come down to it, so he's obviously built a car for his own way, or how he wants it built properly. And you can just see how much damage he's doing to the rest of the field here, as Mark Geraghty's now got a nice bit of a lead actually over Cameron Bryant. And in return, Cameron Bryant is really having to start watching his mirrors for John Balfour. And then Balfour probably got enough in reserve to hold off Blair Murdoch just now. The lack of BMWs is a bit of a shame in this, because it would be good to see some BMWs mixing it with these cars, to have the front wheel drive and rear wheel drive. It would almost be like what the touring cars have, the British touring cars, to see what's better on the day, is it the rear wheel drive BMW or the front wheel drive Fiesta. Unfortunately, we don't have any BMWs, and let's hope we can get a couple as the season progresses. It would certainly be very interesting to see them dicing together on the circuit. Has anybody out there in a BMW got what it takes to take on Wayne McCauley? And there you go, there's a question for you. If you think you have, let's get you entered for the July meeting here at Knockhill Racing Circuit and see if you could tag onto the back of that #1 Fiesta. Because Mark Geraghty, if he's back, let's hope he is back, because it's great to see Mark on track. If it's not in a Mini, it's good to see him in one saloon car, a small saloon car. And he's doing well in this little Fiesta. Run by PCR, Paul Curtis Racing, as is the Cameron Bryant car. And I believe Blair Murdoch is housed under that awning. And it's John Balfour as well, maybe. He possibly could be in the same awning as these guys. If you're not, John, well, I'm sorry. Heading towards Hislops to click off another lap. The leader is already going through Clark Corner as he accelerates down the back straight. In the SMTA Fiesta Hot Hatch Championship and the Scottish BMWs, it's Wayne McCauley's championship so far. We're at the second meeting here, and he is absolutely on fire. We can hear him in the background going through McIntyre's and heading up the straight already towards that Beatson's Building Supply Bridge, as second, third and fourth and fifth all come through, chasing in his wake. There goes Mark Geraghty, car sounds good. And behind the rear ranger, so Mark carrying a good bit of speed up the hill. He'll be happy with that one. He'll be happy to be back behind the seat of a competitive car as well, having won the Mini Championship at the very end of the season. He found it quite stressful, he found it quite intense, and I can understand that, because when you watch the Minis at Knockhill, it looks stressful and it is intense. It's intense to commentate on, never mind driving. So he wanted to take a year out, didn't want to have that full-on approach of racing again, so cherry-picking events that he wants to do in cars that he wants to race. Paul Curtis had a car for him, so it seemed good that he was in there. Look at this, John Balfour has slipped off the back of Cameron Bryant, and if anything, he's coming under pretty big pressure now from Blair Murdoch. Has Blair got something to get past him? If there's a tiny, tiny opportunity, Blair Murdoch will take it, he will seize it, and he will go for it, because you know Blair Murdoch's not shy to put that car, unfortunately, in the gravel there. Just bigging that one up there, and Blair makes a little mistake at the apex, and McIntyre runs in a little bit too hot, and unfortunately he's cost himself quite a bit of time, and I can't see him getting that one back towards the end of the race. Still the fastest lap of the race is by Wayne McCauley, a 61-second lap. The only man circulating Knockhill Racing Circuit in the 61-second bracket is Wayne McCauley. 61.3. Mark Geraghty 62.0, and it's just everybody else doesn't have an answer for him. 62.7, 62.7 for Bryant and Balfour respectively. So these guys, they're going to have to take themselves away from Knockhill, do a bit of head scratching, maybe get the car on a flat floor, look at their setups and see if there's anything they can do to make these cars keep up with that #1 car of Wayne McCauley. One man who will be kicking himself is Blair Murdoch there. He's now got a bit of trim hanging off the side, and it's a shame for him after running wide at McIntyre's. Stuart Scott comes through a rather unorthodox line ahead of Russell Morgan. Russell in 37, and is that Lorne? Yes, it is. Just goes through the shot just now, Lorne Murray. And at the very back, we've not seen him yet, I don't believe, Gordon Haston. As the guys once again come in towards the open, it's been so far a demonstration drive for Wayne McCauley, as he just has to stroke off the laps here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. the anti-clockwise configuration. If you've never driven it, you should try it. You can get on track very, very easily. You can do hot hatch days and you could take your own road car around the circuit. And who knows, in a month after that, you could possibly find yourself, if you get a race licence, you could be a part of the SMRC. Why not have a look at the SMRC's website, or NotKill's website at notkill.com, and you could just find out how easy it is to become a race driver and be one of these guys on track. Second, third, fourth and fifth all go through the shot there, and unfortunately, pretty much they're all strung out here. The leader's even further up the road. He's down towards the hairpin now, and it doesn't look like anything's about to change in this race as we see the checkered flag lady makes her way down the pit lane towards the checkered flag box. And as you've got to say, it's very difficult to catch the leaders as they come over the crest of the hill there for the finish line. You've got to have yourself well and truly switched on there. Very easy to miss the checkered flag car as through go all our top 5 cars. Again, you can see the bit trim hanging off the side of Blair Murdoch's car now. As down the back straight once again comes Wayne Macaulay. Well, has anybody got anything for him this year? That's a question that we post there. And the answer, looking at this, he's got an 8-second lead over the Celtic Speed Mini Cooper Cup champion, Mark Geraghty. Mark, in turn, new to this class, is in a fine second place from Cameron Bryant and John Balfour and then Blair Murdoch. But Wayne Macaulay, he is Mr. Fiesta ST right now. A 61.3 second lap, an 8-second lead. He's made it look very, very easy as he goes up the main straight. Let's hope one of these guys can do something in the not too distant future to try and get back onto terms with the man who is the reigning champion. Because as we see him coming around towards Clark Corner, past the spectators, look at the size of the gap there. Wayne Macaulay will be looking at his mirrors. He'll be absolutely loving this. He'll be checking all his gauges. He's probably hearing all the strange noises now, though, that racing drivers hear. Is that a creak from the back spring? Is it come out dislodged? Or is that something at the front? Have I got a rumble from a wheel bearing? All these strange noises that racing drivers do sometimes hear. But he could probably switch the engine off and coast from here. Well, he couldn't. There's too many hills. But you can see what I'm saying. The size of the lead's very, very impressive. You won't see this in very many classes at Notkill Racing Circuit this weekend. As Macaulay comes up the main straight, the number 1 car, the grey with the green sides. Wayne Macaulay crosses the line one more time down towards the hairpin, and he's going to be absolutely delighted with how this race has gone. Look, that's what 8.7 seconds of a lead looks like. There goes Geraghty, Cameron Bryant in number 27. And look at this, right towards the end of the race, Balfour under huge, huge pressure. Massive pressure from Blair Murdoch. Blair leaves it fashionably late, shall we say, as we wait for the rest of the guys to come up and come through. Should be Russell Morgan. It is Russell Morgan ahead of Stuart Scott, Lorne Murray in there as well. So Russell Morgan will be happy with that. And are we going to manage to see Gordon Haston coming through? The first time we've seen Gordon. And here he comes. Gordon Haston comes through. A bit of smoke coming out of that car as well. But there's the man off the moment. It's Wayne Macaulay. It's all about the number 1 car. Studio 92 in the back window. Wayne Macaulay wins it from Mark Geraghty. And Cameron Bryant rounds out your top 3.